Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks. What up, y'all? This is Antonio Moore. Tone Talks in the building. We about to have a good discussion today. We gonna have a discussion about a lot of things that I've seen on HBO recently. You know, I saw the whole LeBron James thing. Shout out to Brian for at least bringing race to HBO. You know, all we had on HBO was Insecure. Y'all know how I feel about that show. Brian brought the HBO show to the table. I watched it. It was okay. We gonna get into why it was just okay. Part of the reason it was just okay is that we're looking at, you know, the struggle of what happens with somebody who already tried to sell Nikes and Sprite try to become racial. What happens when somebody who turned they back to Tamir tries to then open up a raceless school and then kind of like celebrate it as an achievement for Black America? We gotta ask these questions because ain't nobody else gonna do it. We on Tone Talks, Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. I'm gonna bring Zoe Williams in here. He gonna pop over in a second, have this discussion with me. He watched some clips. I watched the whole show. You know, the show was interesting. You had Odell Beckham, you had Snoop, you had all kind of people in there. Who else? Candace Parker. Then you had Maverick Carter. I didn't understand that at all. I don't know if this was an ego thing. It just didn't. Unless you got specialized expertise, just let the celebrities talk. I don't know. A lot of what they said might not have made a lot of sense, but I didn't understand Maverick Carter in the room. I mean, I know he's LeBron's best friend, but you produced the show. Step back. That's my belief. For those people that haven't watched it, you know, these two black men did produce it. I recommend just go check it out if you do have HBO. Don't go buy HBO, just check it out though. So let's go through some of the questions. You know, that's how we bounce out here. We here at Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. You know, the call in tonight is going to be a little different. I'm over here in Studio D, Dash Radio, 310-986-6610. So tweet this to @KingJames and @OBJ_3. This is Odell Beckham's Twitter and LeBron James' Twitter. #Decadent Veil. Y'all know how I get in. Y'all know I'm going to bring that up in here. You know, I don't know if these young men understand they role in this whole thing. Share this video throughout Facebook so we can get a discussion going, a dialogue going. This is going to be an interesting one. You know, I look at this thing and I start off with the first question, which is, can LeBron James deal with race in a real way and still sell jerseys to white folk? You know, that's a hard question. Because I believe part of what you have to do as LeBron James is be real raceless. You have to be kind of like raceless in a way where you kind of just give white people that good feeling. LeBron been very good at that for the bulk of his career. But here we are at a different space, and we wonder, you know, we look at the Tamir Rice whole incident. We'll get into that in a second. I've spoken on it before here on the show. Tamir Rice is killed there in Cleveland, and LeBron goes quiet. The mama sad, wondering why LeBron ain't said nothing. Then you got the whole 8 picture, you know, Vogue with Bündchen, Gisele Bündchen. And he's supposed to be mimicking King Kong. I mean, what was that, LeBron? That wasn't that long ago. And then we contrast that to the recent statements by LeBron and these statements about Trump. You know, it's easy to go after to attack Trump. It was harder to attack Obama. Let me say that again. It's easy to go after Trump, and I believe that's rightfully so, but you're just going with the wind. It's harder to attack Obama. I think in many, many, many ways, what's happening is people are trying to commandeer that struggle. They see that energy is going against them, and they like, let me get on the right side of this fence. You know, you got LeBron statements about Trump. We'll go into those. They largely are raceless. They don't really deal with reparations. I mean, you don't need reparations. You're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So then you got the show, The Shop. There was some interesting statements in this show. You guys have read some of those. We'll go over some of those. Number 2, do you walk away from watching the HBO show The Shop with a more positive or negative view of LeBron James? You know, you got Jason Whitlock who made some stirring comments. He be saying some off the wall stuff. We'll talk about how he said, that LeBron James made a fool of himself or something of the sort. And we'll talk about that in a second. Then you got the statement by LeBron that he didn't trust white people in entering into high school. Very interesting statement, given his positioning, the importance of the white dollar to the NBA, let alone to his merchandising, meaning LeBron James. It's a very interesting and hot button statement to make. Number 3, does Odell Beckham's statements about feeling like a zoo animal or show monkey make sense? You have Odell Beckham making a statement about, I really didn't understand it. And I'll tell you why when we get back around. But, he had this whole statement about what it feels like to be a black celebrity. We up in here. We having this discussion. We talking HBO The Shop. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Don't check it out right now. Check it after the show. And then you'll understand my critique. Number 4, they had a very interesting whole dialogue about a double standard. LeBron James framed it as one where Tom Brady and other white quarterbacks, Peyton Manning, they're allowed to have privacy and speak up for their family. They're allowed to be able to be normal. And LeBron spoke to the fact that he felt that as black athletes, you got to be ready to perform on a dime. And if you aren't, you'll be judged for your overreaction. Is that true? We gonna get to it. Again, Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. The call-in's gonna be 310-986-6610 today. Woo-wee, this is gonna be a fire show. The next one is, did the HBO show capture any real understanding of wealth inequality or race? I don't think so. I think that the show largely was a bunch of people who lived a very unique variation of race. And I'm not talking, they love to talk about 1 through 5 or 1 through 8. And I'm not saying you can't experience some race then, but your mama was at all your games. Your mama was at all your games. I'm not saying that that's a problem. I'm just saying, and for a lot of them, they had 2 parents that were, especially now, middle class, Odell Beckham. And they was there every step of the way. And I'm not saying that's wrong. But I am saying that it's normal in black America. In a black America where the middle family's worth $1,700, people driving Uber, people working at night, people are not always there, latchkey kids. I just think that this show captured how disconnected, and I particularly look at statements by Candace Parker about her mom and motherhood. It was real suburbia. And I think that it becomes interesting because this becomes the white lens into black life. These celebrity black athletes sitting in a barbershop talking about, commandeering, acting as though they understand the black struggle of the modern day. Come on, let's talk about it. I feel in a lot of ways, we want black America to be black America without slavery. We want black America to be black America without Jim Crow. And that's not what black America can be. I think that when we look at this thing, we move to the last question, and it's an important one to understand and frame the whole thing, which is LeBron James comparable to Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan? And I look at this thing, and I'll give you my answer at the end. You can have your own opinion, your own fight in the chat. Again, this is on YouTube, streaming live on Tone Talks. So people are in the chat. Use the super chat, support the channel. Again, Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. We're gonna be here. We're gonna have this discussion. What I want to do is really hone back. Look at this first question. Can LeBron James deal with race in a real way and still sell jerseys to white folk? I can't help but struggle with that question, because what black folks need today is transformative government. Black folks need everything to change. I don't know if everybody understands that. You look at what happened to Howard 2 days ago. Howard University, the premier HBCU, had their funding shifted. Betsy DeVos, Secretary of Education, without announcement or anything warning, shifted their funding. Now, it came as a result of a scandal. We covered that on this show, but our lives are precarious. So when we see this thing, can you just talk about the outside of race, like how we make each other feel, the N-word, all these parts? Or do you really got to dig into the reality of what living without wealth means in America? Living in a race that was built to have their wealth stripped in America means. See, they didn't talk about that on that show. They talked about a lot of feelings, not knowing what a pantry is, and kumbaya. They had Jon Stewart on the show in the middle. I don't know if he was there for flow or diversity. He's in the middle of all these black folks talking about like black issues and just chiming in as he sees fit. And it was really scattered for me. Now, I'm not saying I'm no expert, but y'all know my background. Y'all know my background in film. I'm saying to you that we can't play with race. What we gonna have to do is really, really hone in, have this discussion. What I want to do is go to a break. I'm gonna come right back, and we gonna get right into these questions. What up? What up? I got Zoe in the building. He brought his intern with her. How are you doing? How are you doing? No, but look, we over here. We talking HBO The Shop. Hopefully, you got to watch a few clips on that.
I did.
Oh, it's an interesting show. I'm giving my critique on it. So we on the first question, and the question is, can LeBron James deal with race in a real way and still sell jerseys to white folk? You know, I go back and I can't help but start with somebody we all know. Let's run a clip of Muhammad Ali talking about black celebrity and their responsibility.
Money means nothing to me, nor boxing, when it comes to the freedom of your people. So everything I'm doing, if it means hitchhike tomorrow, if it means be raggedy, if it means look for a job, I'll be happy because I can go to bed, my conscience is clear, and I didn't sell out or trade my people just because I could be rich in Hollywood with a yacht out here on that could be my yacht right there. Imagine it's valued at $200,000, but I wouldn't want that damn yacht if I couldn't go back over in the black neighborhood and protest a black woman being raped. The hell with the yacht, the hell with the championship. So I want the people to know this, you understand? The Muslims did not find me. Elijah Muhammad, God don't need me, I need him. I couldn't talk to you a few years ago when I was in England the first time on these subjects because I wasn't not a Muslim. I didn't have the wisdom that I have now. So if you noticed, when you talk to me, when they do interviews with me, they're not the interviews that you do with boxers. Boxers usually don't talk. And all they can tell you is he ran 5 miles yesterday, got good left jab, I'm not that type Negro. Black man, you understand?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's turn that down. Let's look. That wasn't HBO The Shop. That was Ali. And Ali was fighting uphill. What my point was when I came around these questions is when it was time to stand up to Obama because black folks didn't get no loans from the SBA, LeBron wasn't there. When it was time to deal with the fact that black folks suffered as a result of the economic genocide, as Byron Allen called it, LeBron wasn't there. When it was time to deal with the fact that, as the Economist showed, that we went through the largest wealth inequality in the last decade over, like in America in the last decade during Obama's presidency, LeBron said nothing. So now when Trump is in office, we want to get racial. That's real easy. It's real easy to jump on the train that people like myself, Zoe, Yvette, Carnell, are making a problem about now. Now, people will say, doesn't he deserve to jump on the train? You can't get on this train with Sprite and Nikes on. Zoe, give me your opinion on it. We're going to keep rolling.
Gosh, I just think it's just a lack of knowledge, in terms of, wealth inequality, policy. I mean, you mentioned Obama. A lot of people don't understand that Obama was an excellent caregiver or caretaker, steward of the government. But he was a steward of the policies that were already in place.
And white wealth.
So we're so enamored with his imagery that we don't want to say anything that we think will disparage him or disrespect him. But the bottom line is we didn't do better under Obama.
No, we did worse.
We did worse.
Jacobin has a great article about how black wealth cratered under Obama. But we going to name Rodeo Road Barack Obama Lane.
Exactly. Right in the hood.
Right in the hood.
Right in the hood.
The hood that he didn't want to come visit when he didn't want to see Maxine Waters. We ain't going to say nothing, though.
But see, that's my whole point. Like, we're an image-based people. As long as it looks good, we will accept it. And when we talk about LeBron, he's just young. He's a young cat who isn't, in the know in all of those different areas. Like, for instance, you had a situation that required, in my opinion, with the platform that he had, that Tamir Rice, that required him to speak on something.
Did it?
To me,
now
that was in your backyard.
Draymond Green said on the show, this was if you watched the whole show, we don't have no responsibility to speak. This is the problem right now. We watching y'all because y'all black, not because you play basketball.
Right.
We watching y'all because you black, not because you play basketball. And so what's happening is everybody thinks that that's their money. That's their success. Now, people will say, well, LeBron opened the school. It wasn't for black folk. Hold up. It was for po folk. Big difference. Now, what I'm saying is that affects the education in the school. I commended him for opening the school. Let me say that on a prior show. But I will tell you now that it is run by white folk. The education inside of the school is white education. See, if you don't start off with an understanding of the radicalness needed for black folks to survive, you can't go nowhere. I was going to get to this later, though. But let's go on and get to it now. Let me read something to you. This is Ali. I'm not going to help nobody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now right here fighting you. If I'm going to die, you my enemy. My enemies are white people, not Viet Congs or Chinese or Japanese. You my oppressor when I want freedom. You my oppressor when I want justice. You my oppressor when I want equality. This don't sound like HBO The Shop. So I say this to you to say, I don't know if we understand what we need right now. I'm looking at this first question and I'm contrasting these raceless statements. Let's go back to them. LeBron said Trump is using sports to divide us. Compare that to what I just said with Ali. This is what he said to CNN, everybody in the uproar. What I've noticed over the past few months is understand how weak that is to say not is President Trump, is he kinda use sports to kinda divide us. And that's something that I can't relate to. That's weak as water.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like you already pointed out, like you can't really. Who's the villain? Ali named his enemy. These new guys can't really name their enemy because they're in business with their enemy.
Come on.
That's the problem.
But what's the business? Is it the shoes or the basketball?
It's all of that. You heard Ali say in his statement he would renounce all of that and get a regular job.
But this goes back to the change in the athlete. We've talked about this before. Athletes didn't used to sell burgers and sing songs with Sprite in it and try to get you to buy something that you don't need. See, Ali went in there and he said, I'll give you 2 of my best years for me to be able to stand up for my people. I'll give you my years back that I could be using to further my legacy because you don't want to look out for my people.
But that goes back to what's my guy from the Golden State Warriors you said earlier?
Draymond.
We don't have a responsibility to speak. Well, yes, you do. If everything in American media influences the youth, then you do have a responsibility to speak. If everything in American media, all the products, whether it's Jordan, whether it's Yeezys, whatever you getting a check for that raises your visibility in the minds and hearts of young kids, yes, that's your responsibility to speak. But this is a different generation. This is a generation who thinks about themselves and thinks about making sure that they okay, not the community. We don't have a responsibility to speak. Yes, you do. Absolutely, 100%. Because guess what? If you decide to bring something into our community that's really self-serving, but winds up affecting all of the youth to where they start copying you, you're going to take credit for it. You're going to be like, oh, I'm the one who created that. Well, if you can take credit for something that really has no social value, how come you can't take credit or responsibility for inspiring the kids?
Come on. And so I have to speak to the article that covers how Tamir Rice's mother felt. I think it's quite sad that LeBron hasn't spoke out about my son. See, I think they should just make a statement. For me, I've always been See, this is what LeBron's statement initially was. For me, I've always been a guy who takes pride in knowledge of every situation that I've ever spoken on. And to be honest, I haven't really been on top of this issue. See, you can't package Trayvon Martin on the HBO show sometimes, because that's what he did last night, and then not speak about Tamir because you in Cleveland and you got business interests.
But I said this before. I said, when you take support, sustenance, or do business with an oppressive hand, that's, if an oppressive hand is extending you support or business or opportunity, please understand at the end of that oppressive hand is a shackle. There's no way you can do business with the people that Ali identified as an enemy and expect to get away scot-free. This is what produces the kind of mindset that would say, oh, we don't have no responsibility to speak on this. Because now you're trying to protect your personal interests as opposed to the interests of the nation. Now, if kids are looking up to you and we're witnessing King James and you're being like modeled in this iconic, you know what I mean, like historical figure, why not speak on what needs to be spoken on? Same with Draymond, same with Steph Curry. Why not be the next Ali? And I mean, truthfully, be the next Ali. Ali was not afraid to give it all up. I'll give it all up.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys, I'm not giving up my Brentwood crib. I'm not giving up, I'm not giving up.
Let's call it what it is. I'm not giving up my white privilege. Let's call it what it is. Black athletes get a certain benefit that really lines up with white privilege. Can we call it like that?
Just say it and mean it.
I'm just saying. And so let's look at this thing, and we start looking at this show, The Shop. We got Maverick Carter. I said it earlier, in the middle of the show. I didn't understand any of that. This is not. See, our race goes through way too much. We talked about the wealth data to be packaged up so that people can make their image off of it. It's not that moment. You want to do a show about about Akron, Ohio, and the life that you live there, go do that show. But this race show, I need you to get some experts in there. They had a bunch of people that didn't know what they was talking about in the room. They didn't have nobody that was an expert. No Michelle Alexander. They didn't have no Yvette Carnell, no Antonio Moore. They didn't have no one who could speak to Sandy Darity. That's it. I'm just saying, you start seeing and you start unraveling this and you start wondering, what are they trying to tell us about ourselves? Number 2 question. Do you walk away from watching the HBO Shop with a more positive or negative view of LeBron James? Now, my answer to this is going to be surprising. I walk away with a more positive view of him.
I do too.
Honestly. You had Jason Whitlock come out and what he said was LeBron made me a Kobe fan. He said LeBron James made a complete, utter fool of himself last night. I don't agree with any of that.
Why would he say that? LeBron James and the young guys, they are young. Let me explain what I mean by that. I tell young people all the time, if life is a book, the book of life, you're born in chapter 4 billion, meaning there are 4 billion chapters before you. A lot of times we don't go back and look at those chapters. So we don't have a context for where we are right now. We don't have a reference point, right? This is why I love what Michael Jackson said. Michael Jackson said, hey, study the greats and become greater. A lot of times we just come in and we don't, I'm talking about these young kids, they come in, they get hit with all this money, and then they just go live their best life. They don't go back and say, well, wait a minute, how did I get here? Who am I a part of?
But this is the problem.
You see what I'm saying?
The money isn't made for transformative change. It's enough money for you to live and keep this system going. Let's go to the Decadent Veil.
Yeah.
Y'all see, like,
yeah.
I don't think y'all know. I don't believe that they play basketball and football as their main career. I think their main career is to keep the black people and the poor people calm. Bread and circus. I've done the piece, The Decadent Veil, to explain that. You can go check it out. I don't think they know it, though. And that's the fundamental conundrum of the moment. We got in so many ways a bunch of young black people, and I think that Zoe hit on something really important. These are young men. I'm going to cut in my interview with Ron Artest, Meta World Peace. And I spoke to Meta a couple of times, but one time I spoke to him, we spoke about the ESPYs and LeBron and Chris Paul coming out. And he said to me, and I'm going to cut it in, I think, on the YouTube version. He said in so many words that they needed to come out earlier. It's easy now. I've been out there in the hood for decades. And so, like, I look at this thing, and I don't think we understand the energy is with protests. The energy is with Black Lives Matter and being pro-black now. Trump is in office. It's easy to be anti-government now.
Right.
When Ali stood up, it wasn't easy.
No.
When Ali said what he said, it wasn't easy. Let's look at this thing that LeBron said about white folks. I'm going to come right to you, Zoe. You know, he said, when I first went to 9th grade in high school, I was on some, I'm not messing, and he said something else, I'm not messing with white people. I was so institutionalized growing up in the hood, it was like they don't mess with us and they don't want us to succeed. Now, this is Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. I know I'm in a different studio. Please call in 310-986-6610. Again, 310-986-6610. But Zoe, is this... what do you think about this?
I totally can relate to what he's talking about because same thing happened to my son. My son, high school basketball player, highly recruited as a freshman, could have went to multiple schools. You know, we had him enrolled in a private school that wanted him. The private school at the time had the same high school coach that coached Russell Westbrook. Then we went at the last moment. We said, "No, we're not gonna go there because it seems like that brother's focus is on bigs and not guards." Okay, so we're gonna go somewhere else. And we wind up going to a white school on the west side. And again, if I'm not in my son's life, if I'm not a part of him, if I'm not teaching him what I know, what I've experienced, what I've learned, he's lost. And one of the things I told him is I saw that piece on the HBO when LeBron said that, and I felt for LeBron because the first thing I said to my son when we stepped on the campus of that white school on the west side, I said, "Understand, every school is its own society." I said they got social game rules that probably don't fit where you come from. I said, you're going to run into that. And every day he come back and talk to me about how there's a disconnect between white people and black people on this campus. And white people, of course, the people who run that school, they're getting subsidized for having black students. So, okay, we're going to have some black students, but we're going to get paid for it. We're not really invested in the black students. We're invested in the check that the black students represent by being able to come to this school. But if you look at the prerequisites for getting into that school, man, you got to have a grandparent that went to that school.
Yeah, it's all
You gotta
kind of it's all kind of ways
the
to keep
requirement. Listen, man, it's crazy. But guess what? That white coach broke all the rules and got him in there.
Let's take this caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Tone and Zoe. It's Dana calling from Tarzana.
Hey, what's up, Dana?
Dana
Finally got to my show.
Dana done got up in here.
So what you got on this, Dana?
Unfortunately, I haven't watched the HBO thing yet, and I didn't read the article where LeBron was talking about how he didn't feel comfortable around white people. But what I did want to say about LeBron is that to think about LeBron and his, rise is that he's been insulated, possibly since middle school, high school, where he has been removed from the community, where his progress was being tracked and taken care of, even though they're not supposed to take money and take care of these kids. You have to admit that he was insulated, and we talk about the collective, but what LeBron did was he got his close collective of friends and close family members and put them on. So that became his community because he, wanted people to rise with him. So to that point, LeBron has been removed from a lot of, just the community-based things. And I was very disappointed when he came out about Tamir because I was like, that's in your backyard. At least comfort the mother.
But is it? But is it if you just if we break down what you said? He built his own yard that was levels above everybody else, but then told everybody that's my backyard because that's what you need to sell them shoes, right? But he had, like you said,
that's exactly what he needed.
Yeah, he built his backyard somewhere else, but then but then you traffic on, I'm from that hood over there today, and I think that
go ahead.
No, go no. I'm just saying, I don't know if he associated himself with Tamir. Because I don't think you can make that statement.
He associated himself in that way, Tone, but I do believe he is what Yvette Carnell calls, he's bumping up against race. So no matter how far removed you are from the situation, you're not removed enough where race doesn't affect you in a way, at least it's in your psyche. At least you have to think about it, or this happened to Tamir, or this happened to this person. And then it was brought home to LeBron when his home was vandalized and nobody saw anything.
Yeah, and he spoke to that. He spoke
to neighborhood that he spoke about it, but nobody saw anything. And then he related it to Emmett Till, something that happened 63 years ago. The context of what he was saying really didn't make sense related to what happened to him.
And this is when I say he spoke about it on the show. And he speaks he speaks on the show about telling his son about the N-word. It was interesting. Okay. And there was these interesting moments, these reflective moments, but like I said, it lacked expertise in the room to give it context and historical backdrop. So what we ended up with was a very, very surface level conversation.
Right.
Black folks are
it's not going to get any deeper than that.
Black folks are at a position where I don't know if black celebrity, as it's constituted, can help us. Because they like the world as it is. It's kind of like the Matrix. The part, hold on, you know the part in the Matrix where I think it's Cyrus or he chooses to be a celebrity?
Yes.
Bring me back as a celebrity.
Somebody important.
Right.
And a music executive.
Come on. And so what ends up happening is if you Snoop Dogg, it's good. Snoop Dogg said when he died, he just wanted to be a butterfly to watch his family fight over his money.
Wow.
And I'm saying to you,
also,
go ahead. Go ahead, Dana.
Also, he's the same person that said he didn't want to watch any more slavery movies without knowing the context. If we're not seeing it, and if no one else is seeing it, it doesn't exist. It didn't happen. We can change the narrative.
So now
This is also that person.
Let's go the other way a little bit, Dana. Jason Whitlock. Okay. Are you familiar with Jason Whitlock?
Oh, please. Why are you bringing up that fat fuck?
Oh, wow.
Wow. This is Dash Radio, Dash Talk X.
Dash Talk
X. Dash Talk X.
I'm sorry.
No, but
I'm
look.
very familiar with
So we come back to Jason Whitlock says that LeBron's show was basically buffoonery, and it made him like Kobe, of all people more. Raceless Kobe. What do you think about that?
I believe that Jason Whitlock has to keep the narrative going and he has to keep Master happy. That's who he is. He is the coon. He is not the spook that sat by the door. Everything that Jason Whitlock has said has been predicated on coonery or buffoonery. He doesn't speak for anything. He might as well be at McDonald's eating right now until it closes.
Oh, Dana, thank you. Look, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Wait, I have one more thing to add.
Go ahead. You're going to get us
What I
in trouble.
wanted to say about Draymond Green is I don't expect anything less from a person that's just happy to be invited to the show and who is the agitator so the Splash Brothers can get one off and be famous.
Okay.
Wow. She coming for everybody.
Everybody. Dana, you ever seen somebody come in with 2 knives in their hand, and they just sharp and just start swinging them?
Dana, she's swinging some nunchucks.
And her feet. All right, Dana, thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, guys. You guys have a good one.
So that brings me to the third question. Third question is, does Odell Beckham's statements about feeling like a zoo animal or a show monkey make any sense? Here's a guy who wears a little yellow piece on his head. At what point do you ask yourself that this is what I wanted? I wanted this attention. So you the show monkey concept was connected to, hey, I want you to dance, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you dance on YouTube. It's not. Is this about race or just Odell Beckham? Like you the dude that do this stuff. Do it now for me now, right now. And you mad because they telling you to do it, but you made yourself the guy that does that. Because I don't know if they're walking up to say LeBron and saying, LeBron, can you dance for me? What do you think?
I think part of his statement has to do with celebrity, too.
I respect that.
A lot of times when people see celebrities out, and it was Marcus King who broke this down for me. Celebrities that people can watch on their television appear to be more approachable. So if you come into my home on my screen, they appear to be more approachable in public. But stars, people who are considered stars, and there might be some of this in football, no, definitely in basketball, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, those kind of people. And, Shaq even, like, oh shit, damn, that's. But for people that come on your television screen, they seem to be a little bit more approachable.
But Zoe, let's get honest. You do the relationship thing.
But if you go to the movie theater, you get dressed up, you go buy a ticket, you pay for parking, you go sit down, and you watch these people on the big screen, that has a different effect on the psyche.
Zoe, but at the same time, you just did the show on excuses versus being honest. Here's a guy. I mean, because if this was the case, Michael Bennett, there was about a bunch of people in the room. I didn't hear them chime in and say, people ask me to dance all the time too, Odell.
But I think Odell is big, though. He's a superstar.
No, but he also is a star for what he's been doing off the field.
Yeah.
You got the Drake song, you jump out the car and dance. He made one. And I'm not saying that's wrong. Yeah, I'm not saying it's wrong.
The Kiki.
But I'm saying this. See, what happens with race is that people pulling it out of a Jack in the Box to deal with their own issues sometimes. You made your own issue that is separate and apart from race, individually. Mm-hmm. And then because that pressure hits you, you say, well, they doing it because I'm black and a show monkey. Mm. And I feel like in some ways, let's see if you cut that little thing off the top of your head and you just start being respectable, how many people walk up to you and say, Odell, dance for me.
So you're saying if he turns his personality down a little bit, he might get a little bit more privacy?
I'm saying that when you turn your personality up like that, people just really want you to be that person.
Right. And that's what they're used to seeing.
Yeah, but I'm saying that if they didn't see that from you, I don't know if they asked that from you. I don't, and everybody go. I don't know if they're asking Draymond Green to dance.
Well, they're definitely gonna go. I don't know if they're gonna ask him to dance, but they're definitely gonna approach
for a picture.
Yeah, for a picture, an autograph. They're definitely gonna do that.
Now, I respect that part of the comment, dealing with the zoo animal and feeling that way, but at the same time, come back to the Decadent veil. Look, black folks is broke. 1 in 5 black men didn't even work in 2016. Mm-hmm. Black men incarcerated 1 in 3. And you run around here as a millionaire, black person, black young dude, like a unicorn. and you don't want nobody to take no picture with no unicorn, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that you were paid to take that picture. Oh, yeah, I'm saying it. I'm saying that is your role in this whole game, to calm everybody down and not deal with the fact that DOS, descendant of slavery, African-American males, are suffering at a rate that I went to Philly and seen that all them young black males outside homeless, all through Skid Row. Come on, man. Let's take this caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is J Dad from Tennessee. How's everybody doing this evening?
What up, Tennessee?
All right. Hey. Yo, I just wanted to weigh in on the OBJ comment. I think the thing that OBJ and really all of those behind the Decadent veil, I guess they feel like what they do is more important than what it really is.
Come on.
You play a child's game, man. I mean, you get paid a lot to do it, and that's great. You take care of your family. But football is a child's game. It's not curing cancer. It's not world peace.
Building bridges. Game. Come on.
So how can you be taken seriously? And you think because you sign a big contract that white folks take you seriously. They don't really take you seriously. They know what you are. You just entertainment.
Caller.
That's why they ask you to entertain them.
What's a trip about your point? What is a trip about your point? Is I seen a great documentary about like the wealth inequality, and it was like Matt Damon. It was powerful. It was in the theaters, and it's this guy that comes on and said, "In America, you guys pay entertainers what we pay military and architects. In America, you guys pay your entertainers." Because they are paying for the bread and circus, because wealth inequality is at a level we haven't seen. If we took away those Odell Beckham and LeBron James, y'all would have to see Jerome. Y'all would have to see Lil Ronnie. Y'all would have to really deal with the fact that black folks have been shut out of American access. But you can't see it because HBO just put them on in a barbershop talking about blackness.
Right.
This is the problem with the show. Any last thing you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say, the thing that I think LeBron needs to recognize, and it's something I was taught in the military, is that you can't be the smartest person in the room. You have to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you.
Right.
So he's got a real opportunity here. If he can bring some of those smart people in the room to speak to some of this stuff, the show might actually do some good. But if he keep bringing his friends in there and people that he want to see, he think we want to see, it's just gonna be what it is. So that's all I got, fellas.
Wait. You. I was gonna let you go, but I'm gonna bring it to you and Zoe, because this is the question. Because you came with it. Is LeBron James comparable to Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan? Hold on, I'm gonna read something to y'all. This is an interview Muhammad Ali did with an interviewer. I want to read a little section, and it's about interracial dating, interracial marriage, actually. Interviewer, that's because that's society's fault. We got to educate people about it. Muhammad Ali, life is too short for me to be catching hell for something like that. I'd rather be with my own and have a beautiful daughter, a beautiful wife. Both look like me, and we are all happy, and I don't have no trouble. I ain't that in love with no woman to go through all that hell. There's no one woman that good. You understand? I understand. I do understand. I think it's sad, said the interviewer. Ali interrupts. He says, it ain't sad because I want my child to look like me. Every intelligent person wants their child to look like them. I'm sad because I want to blot out my race and lose my identity. Chinese love Chinese. They love the little slanty-eyed, pretty brown-skinned babies. Pakistanis love their children, their culture. Jewish people love their culture. A lot of Catholics want to be with Catholics and want the religion to stay the same. Who would want to spot up yourself and kill your race? This is some other stuff that Ali is saying, and I'm bringing this to you because people are trying to. Jon Stewart tried to throw it in there like LeBron and Ali. I feel like LeBron is more Jordan than Ali, and I feel like
more T'Challa.
Yes,
he's T'Challa.
My kingdom. My kingdom.
We got to do business with the devil now. The same devil you were suspicious of. See, Ali called out the devil. You the devil. I'm not fucking with you. LeBron is, you the devil, but I got to do business with you, so I have to keep things cordial.
Now
That's T'Challa.
Now there's two Alis. There's Ali before he started getting the disease and started branding post Reagan.
Well, see, this is when they started loving Ali. Was when he couldn't speak anymore.
And he taking pictures of Reagan.
Now, when Ali is able to speak,
yeah.
When Ali is able to speak, he's public enemy number one. But when he starts losing his ability to articulate his position, he becomes, let's have Ali light the torch at the Olympics. Ugh. Let's have Ali stand here with Ronald Reagan. But if you get a chance to hear Ali articulate his point, oh no, we don't want to hear that. That's the villain right there. So I agree with you in the sense LeBron is more like Jordan in this sense. You know, he's not going to really rock the boat because Jordan was never trying to rock the boat. But you do have to commend LeBron,
yes,
for doing what he is actually doing. Now, you can't say, oh, let's put him in LeBron. You're right. Jon Stewart's wrong for putting him with Ali. But that's who they want to fashion the new Ali into. This is an Ali that is acceptable to all.
and what do you think, caller?
Well, I think obviously he's following the Jordan prototype, but he has the desire to be Ali. The problem is that Ali understood that he had a responsibility, and with that responsibility came he had to do some work. So when he talked about in that clip, you know, he got with the brothers in the Nation of Islam, and they educated him, and now he's able to speak. See, LeBron hadn't caught that yet. Mm-hmm. If you're going to speak, then you got to go study. You know what I'm saying? Study to show yourself approved. If you can't do that, then you can't speak for us. So, I mean, he's trying.
Let me throw
he needs to get around somebody who's going to give him that real information so he really can speak if he's going to take that role.
I throw a curveball at both of y'all, and it's about worth like $300 million. You know, I'm looking at this thing, and Ali was he wasn't doing well financially, and and we look at where Black America's at. The radicalness of Black America coming into the 70s. I just think that we're not being honest about everything. We're giving LeBron credit for going with the wind. He's not going uphill. I said that at the beginning of the show.
He's going with the current.
He's going with the current. The current is like basically Black folks need to hear from you about race to like you and keep you popular.
But I will say this. Ali had Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad. Mm-hmm. LeBron doesn't even have his dad.
Yeah, but that's
for him to come as far as he's come, he didn't have this. You were trained by Malcolm, so it's hard to put him in the same.
Go ahead.
Let me throw this in there. So I think what we're missing is LeBron don't know he needs to go uphill. Feel me?
Yeah.
Ali knew he needed to go uphill. LeBron don't really get that. His vision of Black America is not what Black America is. So he don't know he needs to go uphill. And somebody's got to tell him, hey, you're swimming the wrong way, bro. You need to swim this way.
And this is
where the fight's at.
And this is my point: is that $300 million? It makes it so that you don't want transformation. You don't like why would you want to pay more taxes? And I think for a lot of us, what we don't deal with is who is your class enemy? Who is in there? Who is in the pocket with you, struggling to pay their rent? And I feel like a lot of us want LeBron James to win because with his win is a symbolic win for Black folks. But we saw what happened last time we looked at symbolism. We got Barack Obama and nothing else.
We love beautiful imagery.
Come on. Caller, thank you so much for calling in.
Y'all be safe out there.
Yeah. And so let me say this. Last question is, did the HBO show, the Shop, capture any real understanding of wealth inequality or race? I don't believe so. I believe you had a bunch of rich Black folks that are very bad, very large aberrations in terms of their wealth level, talking about race. And to understand Blackness, you really got to be immersed in it now. Now, I'm not saying they can't talk about their unique experience with Blackness, But I think in many ways, what gets confused is talking about your childhood versus talking about your present reality. And your childhood is not a doorway for you to traffic on black struggle. Ezo, you want to say anything?
No, not after that. I can't follow that. I like that. That was a strong point. Jeez. I'll just say this, really quickly. It's a start. It's not what we need, but it's a start. So hopefully LeBron is open to having someone like you or Yvette Carnell on the shop. Do you think you would go if they asked you to come and share?
No, I would go, but I'm just saying he got to be ready to hear about that decadent veil and wealth inequality. And I think that's why I don't know if it's a start, because I don't know if you start with this. I think either you go or you don't.
But you start where you're at is what I'm saying.
But black folks, see, what's interesting about it is we not almost home. See, the way that he's approaching it is that there's like we almost home and we just need a little bit more. We just need to get along. Trump is dividing us. Right. No, Trump didn't divide us. What happened was we were slaves, and then Jim Crow happened, and then over the last decade, we've had the largest wealth inequality while you got rich in the history of the nation, in a nation that had slavery. So I just challenge the whole concept of, is this a starting point? Because I feel like the transitionary step requires you to understand how far you are from actually starting it all. This is Tone Talks.
Talks.
I appreciate you guys tuning in on your Fridays. So tell them about your show. Thank you so much.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. The Voice of Reason on Dash Talk X.
And they shoot it right across the way.
Get at us.
Please get here every Friday, 7 p.m. Tone Talks, Dash Radio, Dash Talk X, ToneTalks.org to subscribe and donate. We're going to keep this going. I'm out.